What's good, everybody? It's your boy D Nice with I2G Radio and Viva Las Raiders podcast. Here with our Week 4 Raiders vs. Bears preview show. Urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I2G Radio, letter I, number 2, letter G, Radio. And on YouTube, Viva Las Raiders podcast. You can find us there as well. Growing new community on YouTube, so I urge everybody to, if you like this YouTube short or YouTube video, urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get right into it. So we have for Week 4 on Sunday, Raiders playing the Bears in Allegiant Stadium. It's looking like fan-wise it's going to be about split down the middle as far as Bears fans, Raiders fans. So hopefully that gets better over the season, but we'll see how the season goes. Tight end Brock Bowers' knee on Wednesday was a full participant. The injury report is not out yet for today, but hopefully he was a full participant again on Thursday. I think he's nearing or pretty close to 100% now, being 3 weeks removed from that PCL strain in his knee. So Jeremy Chin, pectoral, he had that last week, also this week as well, limited participant. Michael Mayer, tight end, had a pretty nasty concussion in the Commanders game. That was hard to watch. Concussion protocol, Pete Carroll said in a presser yesterday, can last basically all the way up to Friday, Saturday. So he did not participate on Wednesday. Assuming probably the same for him today. I'm saying doubtful. I'm just going to say I think he will not play on Sunday against the Bears. I would be shocked if he plays. Cornerback DeCameron Richardson, hamstring. He had popped up on the injury report last week and also did not play in the game against Commanders. He was a limited participant, with a hamstring. More than likely, I don't see him playing on Sunday. But Bears have, this is one of the few injury reports I've seen that is longer than the Raiders as far as people on it. Linebacker T.J. Edwards, Kyler Gordon, Grady Jarrett, Colston Loveland, Darnell Wright, all did not participate yesterday in practice. That's a big one if Grady Jarrett doesn't play for that defensive line. Also, Colston Loveland, the rookie, was out with a hip injury. But Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, DeMarco Jackson, they all were limited participants on Wednesday, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But let's get to it. Defensive side of the ball versus the Bears. Keys to victory for the Raiders, I think, is getting pressure on Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams versus Cowboys last week was able to completely shred that defense, and especially secondary. Long chunk plays, stuff that the Raiders have been giving up lately quite a bit, was all a specialty for the Bears early and often. Got to get Caleb Williams off his square. Now he's also a good scrambling quarterback, but you want him more on the run, contained, than just sitting in the pocket being able to pick you apart, because they've got DJ Moore, they've got Roma Dunze, they have Luther Burton, they have a great young trio of wide receivers. And if those wide receivers, if Caleb Williams gets that time, that secondary is going to be looking like Swiss cheese. So it's important to get pressure on Caleb Williams inside and outside. It needs to be, Jonah Lalulu. If you're going to move Tyree Wilson more on the inside, he needs to be disruptive as well. And then Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz. Hoping with Malcolm Kuntz this isn't a reoccurring thing this year, coming back from his knee injury. But he's been a little non-existent so far since the Patriots game. So I'd like to see him getting it going. Linebackers as well. It's going to be big for them to cover. And when needed, blitz, but really be good against the run. DeAndre Swift's kind of one of those runners. He either kind of has a quiet game or he has a monster game where it's like multiple touchdowns, like 150, 160 yards rushing. So, and he can get going, it's going to be a long game for the Raiders. So they need to be stout against the run. They gave up over 200 yards last week against the Commanders. They're going to have to be better in that regard. And the safeties, Isaiah Pola-Mao has been, caught out of position. He's more of a strong safety than he is a free safety. So they're still kind of tinkering with things in that secondary, and it's already starting to burn them. I personally wanted the Raiders to possibly look into Justin Simmons, who's still out there for some odd reason. I don't know, but I definitely need a true free safety. That may not be something that they tackle until you get to draft time, or a free agent or a trade or something before the trade deadline. CJ Garner-Johnson is out there, but I've heard some locker room stuff that he's not the easiest to get along with. So, and I don't think the Raiders necessarily need that currently in their locker room, but got to be able to stay home, but also, help out in that nickel formations when you do put Jeremy Chin to be that slot, big slot corner. And, you have more of a single high with Isaiah Pola-Mao on an island. Teams are starting to exploit that, and Caleb Williams, again, if he has that time, he's going to be able to process and get the ball down the field. So looking at all three levels of the defense have got to complement each other. Cover, keep everything in front of you, not behind you, and be able to get pressure on Caleb Williams, possibly force some turnovers, but at least make it difficult for him to have a clean pocket all four quarters. On the offensive side of the ball, obviously the offensive line has a lot of people upset right now. They're asking for Pete Carroll's son to be fired, the offensive line coach. People are saying nepotism. Raider fans talk about a lot of stuff across the board, but these are kind of the sounding boards with a lot of content creators and fans. Look, they've got to get it together. Pete Carroll and now Chip Kelly in his presser today have both said, Jordan Meredith's more technically sound and he will be the center. Okay. They're going to die on that hill right now. So I would say at this point, we need Jackson Powers-Johnson then to be the best right guard that he can be. And I think he can, and he's shown that. But he needs to have consistency. The concussions, the injuries, with him also then trying to settle in with a new coach and kind of get their system down. It's been a bit of a struggle with him right now. So as fans, a lot of us are going to have to be patient with this offensive line. And I know that's hard to say after 3 games and how many sacks are being given up, but they definitely need to gel and play better as a cohesive unit against the Bears. Bears are near or dead last, if not second to last, as far as rush yards per game. This leads into my second point. Ashton Genty's got to get going. And had a good step, 17 carries. I think he had 63 yards yesterday, or last week against the Commanders. I'm kind of drawing away from comparisons or predictions, but I will say I think there's a good chance he gets his first 100-yard rushing game this game against Chicago. And, can break out some big runs. I've got him with 2 touchdowns. So I think this will be a coming out party for Ashton Genty. Hopefully more zone runs, not as many through the middle. The offensive line is giving up way too much interior pressure for these kind of, halfback dives or something like that. I also wouldn't mind, and this will kind of be my honorable mention for 2 players that I wouldn't mind seeing play today, but also Geno Smith. You've got to use that short to intermediate passing game instead of making it, blatantly obvious that the only way that the passes are going down the field are going to be big chunk plays. Teams have gotten hip to that and say, we'll give up the short end of the field and we're not going to allow Genty to get the run game going. Take what you will. This also ties into my honorable mention, but Geno Smith's got to be able to process and look a little bit more in that mid to intermediate part of the field as far as to take what the defense is giving him. Back with Mayer, this would have been a prime Michael Mayer game, but Ian Thomas as well, and which ties into my honorable mention as well, Jack Bish. But work that short to intermediate instead of and allow Genty to get involved. If it's got to be screen passes. I don't think I've seen a screen pass all year so far. Some of that quick pass offense, and then get those yak yards to really help this offense to get going. And thirdly, I really feel like special teams has really got to be better, especially offensively with punts. Punt coverage was horrendous against the Commanders. Needs to be better here against the Bears. And, I think this is going to be another Daniel Carlson special. So I've got him with at least 3 field goals. This kind of feels like one of those years where Raiders are, until they can kind of get their groove back, are going to be very dependent on Daniel Carlson. He's so far has been money. Minus one 58-yarder that he missed right before halftime in the Patriots game. So I'm not worried about Daniel Carlson at all. Definitely hope that he gets an extension here somewhere mid-season or at the end of the year. But my honorable mention, 2 players, J.J. Pegues and Jack Bish. And I know you guys are probably saying, why am I saying J.J. Pegues on offense? Well, in college, J.J. Pegues did play fullback. And I desperately, think that the Raiders need to, especially on short yardage plays, need a fullback. Baltimore had, 285, almost 300 pound fullback. The Chargers do it as well. There's a few teams here and there. You still got your Miami with shout out to Alec Ingold, once a Raider, always a Raider, plays fullback for the Dolphins, but more on the smaller side, or huge check for I might be saying his name wrong, but the fullback for the 49ers as well. A few teams still incorporate and use it. Raiders got to use some more wrinkles here to really kind of get some yards and I think the more positive yards that Genty gets, I think the more he gets engaged and gets going into the football game, the better off that this offense is going to be able to then operate, the more involved that Ashton Genty is in. And at first we all assumed that was going to be a given, but it has taken him a little bit of time to get everything going. But J.J. Pegues, definitely on short yardage, I would like to see him used a little bit more. And also, Jack Bish. Jack Bish has gotten a few more snaps since Bauer's kind of gone down. He's kind of played that pseudo tight end. You can still kind of run kind of a quasi 12 personnel or even 13 personnel with Jack Bish. Get him more involved, especially in the short yardage. Strong guy, good blocker. Kind of use him in that Hunter Renfrow role. And, get some short passes out to Besh and allow him to get those yak yards. This is a perfect way to get him more involved and more integrated into the offense. I was big on when the Raiders signed him in the second round. Now with all of the run issues that the Raiders are having, it looks like a bad pick because, they could have went offensive line there, got a guard maybe in the second round, but neither here nor there at this point. They've made the pick, but I'm super excited and I've got some as he gets more involved, year 2 and year 3. I have big plans for Jack Bish. I can see him doing big things out there. Sorry, got stuck with that thought, but I would like to see him get involved more in the short yardage game. It'll allow Geno Smith kind of his mental clock to get rid of the ball a little bit faster if it's got to be a quick slant. Obviously, no hospital balls or anything that get your man hurt, but some maybe some sweeps if you can get him some sweeps going, or quick screens, very quick screens. Get him in space and out there. I think he can definitely make some plays out there on the field. So I'm not going to really do predictions too much anymore. I kind of feel like even 3 games in, I'm like, okay, this is not necessarily what I thought about the team. And not say I'm backing away. I said 9-8. Originally, I said 8 wins, and it's looking more like, unless this team can kind of turn things around. But I did have the Raiders winning this game, so I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. But there's got to be a lot of changes and a lot of things moving forward for this team to improve and to get better. And it's going to be tough in this game because Caleb Williams, Coach Johnson, they've got things going there in Chicago. And you can definitely see, Raiders are not sound defensively, especially in that secondary. This game could get away from the Raiders really, really quick. Big ups to anybody that's going out to the game here in Vegas to Allegiant Stadium. Hopefully you can kind of keep that home field advantage somewhat to a certain point. But like I said, start losing a couple of games, it can get lost real quick. So like I said, it's going to be a 50-50 crowd on Sunday. So again, the site, www.illuminati2g.com. You can also check us out on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify at I2G Radio, letter I, number 2, letter G Radio, as well as the Viva Las Raiders podcast on YouTube. You just search Viva Las Raiders, should pop up with Viva Las Raiders podcast. So, D Nice signing off. You know what? I will give a prediction. I'm going to say 24-21 Raiders. Hopefully this can get this possible win can get this team going in the right direction, going to week 5 against the Colts. But D Nice signing off. Peace.